6 points. That is all that separates Toronto FC from the final playoff spot. That sounds manageable until you look at the form required over the final 16 matches. Toronto has 17 points from 18 games and is riding a 12-match MLS winless run. To reach the postseason, the Reds may need another 27 to 30 points, close to a 2 points per game pace from here. And with 5 of the next 6 league matches at BMO Field, the season may be decided before the end of September. So, can Toronto still make the 2026 MLS Cup Playoffs? Or is the gap smaller on the table than it is in reality? Let's break it down. What's up, Reds Nation? Welcome back to TFC on the Road, your home for straight-up Toronto FC news, analysis, roster moves, and the stories shaping the club. Where Toronto stands as of August 5th, Toronto FC sits 12th in the Eastern Conference with 3 wins, 7 losses, 8 draws, and 17 points from 18 matches. DC United currently holds 9th place, the final playoff position, with 23 points. That leaves Toronto 6 points below the line, with Orlando and Columbus also sitting between the Reds and a wildcard place. A 6-point gap with 16 games remaining is recoverable. This is not a mathematical crisis, but the playoff race is not a fixed target. Toronto must catch several teams while those clubs continue collecting points of their own. The path is open. The margin for error is not. How Toronto got here. The strange part is that the season did not begin badly. Toronto took 10 points from its first 6 matches, including a gritty 3-2 comeback against the Colorado Rapids on April 4th. That was genuine playoff pace. Then the momentum disappeared. Since that Colorado win, Toronto has gone 12 straight MLS matches without a victory, 13 in all competitions, through the 1-1 draw away to New York City FC on July 31st. There has been defensive progress inside the recent results. Toronto has become more compact, harder to play through centrally, and more capable of staying in close matches. But the attacking problem remains. Draws can stabilize a season. They cannot rescue one. Toronto now needs wins. Injuries have played a role. Georgia Mihailovic missed close to 2 months, Mateus Pereira's debut was delayed, and Teo Corbeanu was working back from knee surgery. Now Mihailovic is starting again, Niklas Dorsch has entered the midfield, and Robin Fraser is finally getting more of the roster available. The timing matters because the schedule is about to offer Toronto its clearest opportunity, the 5 home matches that could decide everything. 8 of Toronto's final 16 matches are at BMO Field. More importantly, 5 of the next 6 league games are at home. Toronto hosts New England on August 15th, Charlotte on August 19th, New York City on August 29th, Chicago on September 5th, and Nashville on September 9th. The only road match in that sequence is a difficult trip to Inter Miami. This is the stretch that will define the season. Toronto does not need to win all 5 home games, but it probably needs at least 3 victories, and ideally 4, to change the table in a meaningful way. The opponents are not weak. New England, Charlotte, New York City, Chicago, and Nashville are all above Toronto. But that also creates direct opportunities. Every win adds 3 points to Toronto's total, while denying points to another Eastern Conference contender. BMO Field cannot simply be a familiar environment. It has to become the platform for a points surge. These games are not preparation for the playoff race. They are the playoff race. The schedule also has real danger. The remaining schedule also contains several matches where Toronto will be the underdog. Nashville leads the East with 40 points and appears twice on the schedule. Inter Miami sits second with 38 points, and Toronto must travel there on August 22nd. New England is third, while Chicago and New York City are also firmly above the playoff line. The finish is especially difficult. 3 of Toronto's final 4 matches are away from home, and the season ends at Philadelphia on Decision Day. That means Toronto cannot build a playoff plan around beating the strongest teams. The more realistic road is to protect points in difficult away matches and attack the games against clubs around the line. Home matches against Montreal, Orlando, and DC United, and road matches against the Red Bulls, Columbus, and Atlanta could carry the greatest weight. They are effectively 6-point games because every Toronto win also slows a direct competitor. The schedule is demanding, but it is not closed. How many points does Toronto need? So, what does Toronto actually need? A practical target is somewhere in the mid to high 40s. Toronto has 17 points now, so reaching 44 would require 27 points from the final 16 matches. Reaching 47 would require 30. One route to 44 points is 8 wins, 3 draws, and 5 losses. One route to 47 is 9 wins, 3 draws, and 4 losses. That is close to 2 points per game for the rest of the season. For context, Toronto is currently averaging 0.94 points per game. This is not a small correction. The Reds must play like a strong playoff team for 4 straight months after spending most of the season below that level. The equation is possible. It is also unforgiving. Another long winless run would likely end the race. What the best-case scenario looks like. In the best-case scenario, the returning pieces finally click at the same time. Mihailovic drives the attack, Dorsch adds control in midfield, Pereira provides another creative option, and Josh Sargent becomes a reliable reference inside the penalty area. The defensive improvement becomes the foundation rather than the final product. Toronto starts converting close matches into wins, takes care of business against Montreal and Orlando, and steals points from at least 2 of New England, Chicago, or Nashville at BMO Field. A strong August and September could put Toronto within 1 result of the playoff line entering October. From there, the head-to-head games against DC United, the Red Bulls, Columbus, and Atlanta become direct chances to close the gap. Pull that off, and a wild card place is realistic. It is a real path, just a narrow one. The realistic prediction. The realistic prediction is more cautious. Toronto has become harder to beat, but it has not yet shown the attacking consistency required to win 8 or 9 of its final 16 matches. The home-heavy stretch should improve the points total, and a 6-point gap is small enough to keep the race alive into October. But unless the attack changes quickly, Toronto is more likely to finish just below the playoff places than inside them. My projection is 38 to 42 points, which would likely leave the Reds between 10th and 12th in the Eastern Conference. So, can Toronto FC make the playoffs? Yes, the path still exists, but Toronto must produce a level of form it has not demonstrated in 2026. The next 5 home matches are not preparation for the playoff race. They are the playoff race. And if Toronto does not turn that stretch into wins, the conversation will quickly change from chasing 9th place to explaining another season outside the postseason. That's where I've got it. Toronto is 6 points below the line with 16 matches remaining. Do the Reds make it? And what final points total are you predicting? Drop your answer in the comments, subscribe for more no-spin Toronto FC analysis, and turn on notifications because the next month could decide the season. This has been TFC on the Road. See you at the next one.